Hey guys, Luke here from Flukes Kitesurfing, and in today's video we're going to talk about how to run out your bar and lines across the wind. So we have two other videos, how to run your bar and lines upwind and how to run your bar and lines downwind, so go and check them out for both of those directions. And this video we're going to talk about a crosswind, because in our experience a lot of the places we go on busy beaches, you have to run your bar and lines across the wind just to sort of fit in between all the kites. All the kites are stacked up the beach and you sort of run sideways. It's not always perfect like this where you have lots of space and you can choose the direction. And so in this video, we're just going to give you a couple of tips for when you come to the kite, either connecting your bar and lines downwind of the kite, so at the back, the trailing edge of the kite, or connecting your bar and lines upwind of the kite. So what I mean by that is that when you get to the kite with your bar and lines, if you pull your bridles out the front or you pull your bridles out the back, the way that you have to connect them is different. And so this video, we're going to go through those differences and how you can do it safely. So here we are again, we're down here on the beach in Cabo Verde, out the front of the Robinson Club. Another shout out to those guys for looking after us down here while we're in Cape Verde. We're here for the World Tour event. It was an awesome event and we're still here enjoying this beautiful club and country. So definitely come and check this place out if you are coming to Cape Verde. Great waves, kite right out the front. There's a kite school here, everything you need for a great kite holiday. So let's get into it. So the very first thing, let's start running the bar and lines. So you need to choose what side you're going to connect to right now. And typically what I like to do is actually run out on the downwind side, so at the trailing edge. So I like to position my lines, falling off there, right here on the other side of the kite from the direction that you're going to run your bar and line. So you want to go to the furthest side, so that will allow you to connect your line to the furthest point away from yourself. So then we're just going to run out the bar just like we normally would, and then because we've chosen the downwind setup, what that means is even though we're running our bar and lines across the wind, what we're really doing is connecting our lines downwind. Okay, so when we put our bar down, we have to think about that, because if you know, when you're running your bar and lines downwind, when we put our bar down, we put red on the right hand side and then we have to pick it up to swap it over. So you just have to keep that in mind, because what that's going to do is make sure that you connect it to the right side when you get to the kite. So let's just quickly keep running this out. Okay, so now what I like to do is just make sure there's no slack in the line. So I just sort of pull it till I can see the lines aren't, you know, all twisted. And then, like I said, because we're at the trailing edge of the kite, when we put down the bar, we're going to put it down red on the right and we'll put it down like this. So then what we'll do is run out our bar just like we normally would. So all the way to the kite. And when we get there, we connect it just the same as we normally would when we're connecting in the downwind setup. Okay, so now that we're at the kite, you can see we're sort of going sideways to the kite. Work out all your lines. I like to separate it with my legs, like you can see here. And once we've worked out all our lines, this is how I do it. So I start with the line, which is on my right at the moment, but it's going to connect to this trailing edge. So this outside line is on this side, and I like to put it down just outside like that, so it's nice and clear. Then what I like to do is walk to the middle of the kite, put down both of my center lines, and then walk to the outside, the other side, and I just sort of bunch the line up a little bit so it's clear, and then it's ready for this side. Okay, so basically what we've done, if we just draw in the sand quickly, basically what we've done is we've got the kite sitting on the sand like this, and normally for the downwind setup you'd run out your lines like this, going like that, okay, to your bar. But because we've put the bar over here today, you can imagine this line goes like this line goes like this, right? And we have the center lines going up through the center. So this is how we sort of want to have it looking when we've laid out our bar. Now, what I like to do is just quickly go back and check that we are completely free and clear. So I go back, I get the center lines, I run them again, make sure there's no tangles, because with this system, you don't really have a chance to do a pre-flight check. So it's important to make sure it's right. So let's go and quickly run the lines again. So on this second run, really what we're focusing on is just the center lines, making sure again, second chance, that there's no twist. So I like to just step in between my lines again, and I run my fingers in between the center lines just to make sure that there's no tangles, and that again, really what we're just making sure is that it's completely clear of the outside line. Okay, so now we know that all the lines are free and clear. That gave us a second chance. So we put them back in the middle like this, and we're ready to connect our lines. So you'd connect like usual. We know that we have one outside line going all the way around. We have the other outside line coming on the inside there, and we have both of those center lines coming up into the middle, and so we can connect our lines to the kite. Now, a couple of things. Of course, we can't do a pre-flight check, so make sure that when you're about to launch, you have to sight the lines there. That gives you a chance when someone's holding it, make sure it's right. And remember, this is a downwind setup. So I would recommend that you do the downwind setup when you're running across the lines, exactly like how we've just shown. But when you get back to the bar, remember that we've put red down on the right because it is a downwind setup, even though we've run across. So remember, pick it up, flip it over, red's always on the left in your hand. That's going to keep you safe for your launch as well. Look, that's it for this video. Hope that was helpful. Get out there, have a practice maybe one day before you actually go for a launch, and just double check it with a friend. But this certainly works for me in crowded areas, and I'm sure you're going to come across that in your kiting as well. Thanks, Luke here, and we'll see you in the next video.